Okay, now we're live. And now we try again. Here is Claudia. I see her. I sent her the invite. We are standing in front of St. Agnes. Let me switch off the... in Berlin. The gallery's in lockdown, but I don't see Claudia. So maybe Claudia, you can, if you see this, maybe you can just apply for joining, and then it should work. I see the reply of Anna Hopfensberger. Ah, yeah, I invite you again. Claudia, you just need to apply and say like join conversation, but I sent to you the message again, but I don't know if that's an invite. Ah, here we go. Anfragen, yes. I'm waiting for you now. Okay. So again, to see the overall scope.
Hey.
Hello. How you
Hello.
doing? Let me. It's so bright
So
for
nice.
me here.
Sorry for the delay.
No problem. How you doing?
Yeah, great. I see it's also really sunny in Berlin.
Yeah, which is very good.
Amazing.
I think. I mean, imagine we would be in that terrible time, and then there would be the typical Berlin winter, which you just escaped. No?
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah,
the
we can
connection
say
is not so
that.
good.
I just moved back in Switzerland. You hear me well?
So maybe we start here. I hear you.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You hear me okay?
Yeah. It's a little bit blurry for me, but
maybe I go inside just to give a quick idea here of the Bumpy Grumpy. It's like a solid marble sculpture, and
yeah, this is the, I think it's the heaviest piece I ever made. Oh, that's cute. It's a five ton sculptures with marble from Carrara. And I will show you a few other wood sculptures, but the principle is always the same. I do everything out of wood first with the chainsaw, and then I 3D scan the piece and then reproduce the ceramic or bronzes. Your little is not so good now.
I think,
are you
I
inside?
don't know, maybe the others saw you, but I lost you for a second. Now I'm inside, yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Can you repeat?
Great. No, I was just saying about the technique to make those big sculpture out of marble, like the one you have also in the garden, the big ceramic, the Queen of the Volcano. This piece that I presented in Copenhagen.
Shall I go
Yeah,
now?
please.
Okay.
So then we stay inside after that.
Okay. Oh, wait, let me put my jacket on. Oh, actually, I forgot. I was meant to start with this one. You know, we become a professional now. You know, we have like
it's fine.
We have like later the open. We try to like to become a pro in this. So that's why also.
I mean, I follow your lead as you like.
Yeah. No. Let's go. I hope the connection lasts. And you were saying you always start working with wood and then you transform it to other materials?
Yeah, I started with the chainsaw work about 12 years ago, and it's kind of my signature. So the base of the work is always me working with the chainsaw, and then lots of assistants helping me to sand the wood. That's why it's so smooth in the end. And now, since a few years, I 3D scan the piece to reproduce them in other material. Like this one is big ceramic.
Go. You see?
This was an insane ceramic in this, and are extremely skilled.
So now I think I
Yeah,
lost you for
yeah,
a
we can
second.
see it. Yeah, I was just explaining about the process as well. No, I was just saying that the piece stayed for a month in the kiln, and it
Burning for
goes
1 month.
progressively up to, yeah, for 1 month until 1,260 degrees, and then it goes slowly down. And obviously, it was a huge surprise when we opened the kiln to get the beast out of the oven, and the ceramic is just an incredible material also because outside is very, very strong. It doesn't fear any, weather or, whatever can happen outside. Unless maybe, bronze and everything else is really changing outside, but the ceramic is extremely strong.
So let's have another look, maybe from here to the Grumpy Grumpy. Oh, it's too far away now. But so maybe people, oh yeah, here you go. So people understand also the
Yeah.
concept of the building, So we have like, this is a tower, this is a chapel where Jeppe Hein shows in. And then this is the space from the outside, which is almost like a monochrome painting.
Mm-hmm.
And then we created this little patio here for Claudia's sculpture. But of course, everything's for sale. Not everything, but most of it. Good. So yeah, let's go back in.
And how is it going at the gallery? Are you completely alone, or
We're
you
mainly
have
alone.
some?
Yeah, we have one person in the accountant's office
Uh-huh.
who's working there alone, and we're closed. And we have the kids home, which of course is at the beginning was fun, but it starts to be a bit more of a drag now.
And do you give like one-to-one visit to collectors, or how is it working? Never. Okay.
No. No, not right now. And also, but I mean, interestingly enough, we have sales to Asia. We sold work to China and to Korea, and it seems that the market is. I mean, I think we're gonna be fine.
But
Okay,
via the gallery in Tokyo, or this is not connected?
No, it was connected to the Gallery weekend show.
Okay.
And I don't know. We do this. We hope to. I mean, first of all, always art needs to be communicated before it can get sold. So I think it's very. That's why I think we also do this to allow people to understand your practice. And I don't know. For me, this time is really energizing almost because I find it so interesting. Because it's like you're the fourth, fifth conversation, and this conversation I had with Michael Elmgreen or Alicia. Or at the beginning, Jorinde Jeppe was like not so much natural, as more you do it, as more you get into it. And I think it's almost like a profit because when did we do this? Like talking like this and also I'm started this podcast, and when I talk to, I don't know, I did it with Norbert Bisky now, and when I talk to him in representation of a third party asking questions I usually wouldn't probably ask him, but now I get to talk to him on a level I wouldn't, and that's great, Anyway, let's get into the explaining like how you process, because you said you start with wood, because this one is
so this is another ceramic, and as I will show you, actually I can already give you a little peek here. So I'm at my place in the house, and here, for example, is one of the trunk we have been presenting at the gallery show 2 years ago, and you can see this piece inside. This is not the sculpture; it's the mold to then reproduce bronzes or ceramic, and it's exactly this piece has been made out of wood, like the snake you have just shown before, and then I 3D scan it, create the mold, whatever appropriate mold we need for different medium, and then reproduce the piece. And obviously, what is amazing for me in this concept is that I can go through a digitalized aspect of the work, meaning through the scanning of the piece, I can then enlarge or make the piece smaller to create it in a different scale and different medium.
Yeah, I quickly wanted to show, this was the exhibition upstairs, like up here, so above this table.
When dinosaur rules the earth. Yeah, it was referring to the column we just saw briefly, what you shown from the gallery. The column that are supporting this platform you created when you took over the space.
Here, these guys. Always on top of those, the 6 meter, no? Was it?
Yeah. 6
and
meter
then you
tall.
see inside here, maybe we find the sculpture actually.
It was in the back.
Was that? Here we go. This is the sculpture in which you made in wood, which is standing outside now in ceramic.
In the garden, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. And this is a bumpy grumpy we saw outside.
Yeah, it was presented first in a park in Netherlands, and now we brought it at the gallery. And
do you prefer it in the countryside? Or
my cats are here. See my cats.
Oh, nice. You have two, no?
Yeah, I have two cats. They are still really young. Hey.
Beautiful. And do you prefer it in the countryside or in the city?
No, I love both actually. It's both two different stories. But obviously, I don't know, in the city in front of the gallery, when you proposed me to show it there, I thought I was super excited about this, obviously with the contrast with the church, because the shape of the Bumpy Grumpy are very organic and it has such a character, you know. That's why it's called also Bumpy Grumpy, because it expresses something, like a grumpy person. And I love the fact that it's just standing outside. Everyone that passed by can, you know, just experience it or look at it or not. And it's even less obvious somehow than in a show outside in a park, obviously.
And so tell me, you said you start this with
drawings that I do quite intuitively, to have really this cartoonish aspect versus really organic shape, the like pattern that I can find in nature mainly, and then chainsaw, and then lots of polishing, and then reproducing the piece. But I'm never doing, actually no, it's not true. Sometimes I'm producing wood in the idea of already wanted to produce marble or other piece, but mainly it's just always the starting point with the wood.
You have a wood sculpture in your house?
Yeah, but here actually I have a few pieces I'm keeping for my collection, and this is the very first. Yeah, this is the wood behind.
Yeah.
And this is the very first reproduction I had made out of marble. That's why I kept it as well. This is a marble called Portoro. It's like the Rolls-Royce of marble. It has all this beautiful goldish vein inside. It's also coming from Carrara, but this one is from an island in front of Carrara, actually. And so this is a walnut piece. Most of the wood I use is coming from my countryside in Switzerland, like I would say 90% maybe, because I never cut trees for this kind of sculpture. Obviously, the trunk that were shown in your in the gallery 2 years ago were cut for the show, but then I replanted two trees for that to compensate, and obviously they are also coming from a sustainable forest. And so for the chainsaw sculptures, I always find trees that had to be cut or that fell down. And this is beautiful walnut. We are already in the heart of the wood. And I have like a lot of trunks that are waiting
And
to be used.
we see three different shapes of no, the left one is the same one but just smaller, right?
The last one, what do you mean?
No,
This
the left one, the marble
the
one
marble?
is
Yeah, it's slightly smaller. Yeah, exactly.
how come?
Yeah, because I just wanted to, to try out a different size.
Because it's the same shape.
It's exactly the same shape, but that's the point. I can choose whatever size and play with that.
Okay,
So
okay.
I thought it would be especially great not to the cat again, not to use the not to reproduce the same size. I mean, I say reproduce, but at the same time, obviously, it's a work on its own. For me, what's a kind of magic with this is that it's the same shape, but it's a different sculpture because of the material. And you can see also I did a lot of cactuses, and they really have a different character when they are in reproduced in another material.
Yeah, we did this with König souvenir with our kind of like merch label. We did this salt and pepper edition. Was one hand.
Yeah, that's
And
the same snake exactly. That's the sneaky snake.
the one you have there.
Uh-huh.
So and where does this vocabulary come from? From the donut, the snake, and the cactus.
Well, it's almost a kind of alphabet or abstract alphabet or language that I like to use to express those very organic shape found in nature, and they also refer to cartoonish shapes, and they again really show a kind of a character. The donut here is made to get the egg inside, and the other is the salt and pepper shaker, and we reproduced it out of porcelain. This piece is downstairs as well in the glass house. Maybe I'll go in the glass house to show you the piece as well.
Yeah.
I just show you here.
Actually, in the meantime, we did
where
this
I'm
magazine.
standing. Yeah.
This is our magazine issue, I don't know, 2 years ago. And there we have you are on the cover girl. And then we followed you into the woods, cutting the trees for the dinosaur show.
Yeah, I think this was really interesting because I remember when you proposed me to put me on the cover with the chainsaw, I was not that comfortable. And following a discussion we had, we understood also most of the people are not understanding I'm doing those chainsaw sculpture
with your
myself.
Legs, huh? Yeah.
And I think it was really a good idea to show the production really.
Yeah. And here you see how Claudia is assembling the things. Oh, and this is a bumpy grumpy.
Yeah,
small.
this is the bumpy grumpy, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was in Berlin, in the studio.
And it's funny, because we do advertising. We have like, what did we have here? Not in this one, maybe not, but later on, we have like advertising clients, and we try to ask Stiel, the company, and then they looked at the picture, said, "Oh no, we can't do this
because of the blade."
Because of the blade. They said you use a blade which is not supposed to be on this, and then you're not wearing the right protection gear.
What a shame.
And
we have to try out again.
You're never allowed to do it like this or things like you're not supposed to. But I think this was more posing. Like you're not supposed to cut like this, and you have to wear the correct gear, and you can't do it like this, and so on and so forth.
No, anyway. I don't wear gears in general. I wore gears for the photo, but yeah.
And wow, this is your house. This is
speaking of the studio, now as you said, I just moved back in Switzerland recently, and here we can say we are completely isolated. There is no close to nearby Basel, and it's fantastic here. Obviously, the spring is coming now. We have a pond here with lots of frogs and fish. It's really cute. This will be the studio Right now it's still the barn. And this is the garden. And obviously for me, it's an amazing, space to work with. I was dreaming about going back to the countryside for years and years because I grew up in, sorry, someone calling. And now the dream
You said you
came
grew up
true,
in the
really.
countryside.
I grew up in the countryside near Lausanne. Yeah.
And
That's
here maybe
how.
because I mean this is a painting you did for the London show. You have there when you study your work, there's like always two elements somehow. There's nature and geometry. So you have the
Yeah.
zigzag here, and also there's this like natural form coming from the wood here, but then there's a geometric pedestal underneath. What is this connection,
Yeah,
nature and geometry?
I like to frame the organic shape really with the geometry mainly. It's a little bit similar in those, now we are downstairs in the glass house to have created this window. It's, sorry, another call. It's a little bit similar as well. I like to frame the organic through the pattern we can find also in nature, actually. And in the case of this painting you are showing, to finally achieve something I wanted to do since a long time, I think the zigzag pattern I'm using a lot in my work. I do also lots of wall paintings using the whole surface of the wall, like if it's maybe like a skin on the architecture. And in this case here, it was also referring to all the fires we've got in Australia, in the forest. Yeah, exactly. Well, also Australia. I mean, it was already starting there at the time, and that's why I created these gradients, and obviously a connection again with the cartoonish side, which in my childhood also always represented perfect, luscious forest that I wanted to mix here with the zigzag. Like this wall here. I mean, this is a progression between zigzag and curves, and every single line, every single lines is creating the morphing that you see on the wall, and it's the whole group that creates. Yeah, exactly.
So it starts as a zigzag, and then becomes to a snake again, or slope.
Yeah, curves.
And this was in the desert of Desert X, no?
Exactly. This was in Palm Springs, and the wall itself, so the surface itself, was following this system, the zigzag morphing into curves, and I really like, it creates a kind of empathy towards the people as well, even if it's completely flat and mainly black and white. I also use lots of colors, but I love the feeling that can create towards the public. And obviously what is also really interesting is that everyone is taking selfies in front of the wall paintings. And,
this is a wall painting show you did which is up right now, but closed at Castello. It's still up, no?
It's still up. It has been extended already before the coronavirus, but now I think until July. And yeah, we will see. Hopefully it's going to be even more extended.
And this is an edition created for
actually,
in collaboration
I have it here.
with Edition König and Art Magazine.
Also, representation of 3 cactuses that were made first out of wood again. So even going through print, because of the scanning, it's possible to use the shape that were done first with the chainsaw. And maybe if I show you really close, you can see the tram of the paper.
It's almost always the same. Is it always the same cactus?
No, in this case, yes, because I love this one. It was a pretty perfect shape to reproduce. But
you have it? You still have it? But you have one wood cactus, no?
Yeah, I have one here. This is a bigger
Wow.
one. It's like a middle size, let's say.
Can you
Maybe I
get
should
closer?
turn around. Yeah. I don't know if you can see really well.
Yeah,
Is
it's
it
very
not too
nice.
dark? Okay.
No, can you go a bit closer?
This is almond wood.
Wow.
It's really,
But
yeah,
but
it's really
how? I mean, it's
beautiful.
a Brancusi problem always, no? With a pedestal. When you constantly changing your pedestal. Sometimes they're on car lacquered plywood, like perfectly white, like a piano, black like a piano. Or then we just saw this concrete one over there. What pedestal is this one going to have?
Um, I don't know yet actually, because this is a special size somehow. It's not too small, it's not so big neither. I also do a lot of those chainsaw curved plinth that I use here for real cactuses actually, and it might go onto something like this. I also use the chainsaw to make drawings, somehow to curve lines and use it like as a brush somehow.
But you don't
And
like it so much to just put it on a sideboard.
no, usually not. So that's not really a great example now, just on the
How
table.
you handle it yourself,
But
how you treat your own.
yeah,
Show
but
some respect,
usually,
Claudia.
but usually no, it's not to be shown just on the table like that. Although again, this is the middle size; it's working pretty nicely. But actually, about those two pieces,
But
those two,
but these ones you can put on a breakfast table,
this
right?
one, oh, those cats, my God. Okay, yeah, no, those one, yeah, it's made for the table, yeah, at least. But maybe just one comment about those two. Those were made in Jamaica, where I was invited by TBA 21 Academy for a residency. And this wood is coming obviously from Jamaica. That's why when I'm not taking the wood from my countryside, I travel with the chainsaw and my team, and we are producing on site. And this is an incredible wood called dogwood. You can see all the structure and the vein, which is really so beautiful. It looks like honey somehow.
Yeah.
And
And that's a
those,
coral.
yeah, all those shape refers to coral after the cactuses. Maybe some word about the cactus. This was my very, very first sculpture 12 years ago, where I obviously thought really hard before, using the machine and doing my
This
very
one,
first
the one
shape.
we are looking at now.
No, not this one.
No,
It was no at the
another shape,
time.
another cactus.
Yeah, at the time I was using pine to work
Uh-huh.
with. I had no idea about wood at all, so I just used the soft wood. I wouldn't use pine anymore to do the sculptures. And this was at the time, obviously still now, a mix between exactly what you explained before, how to present a piece, and in this case it was made in his own plinth, meaning the cactuses was emerging from the trunk. And I later realized a whole family 2 years ago of big cactuses that I had done outside in the forest, obviously, where I always work with the chainsaw, and then reproduce them all in out of marble. And now, after this whole work with the cactus, it's now I change. I'm into coral that are obviously amazing animals that are not plants. And in Jamaica, I was used to go diving in the morning, taking photo and video, and get inspired by the shape, and then later reproducing or digesting them and make shapes with the chainsaw.
I wanted to show some examples of your pedestals. Like here, you made the object itself to a kind of plinth. Here, the plinths coming out of the
With
wall.
the bunnies also, like the snakes and the donuts, are also recurring shape in my work.
Then here we had the plinths in our first show.
With the snake we just saw upstairs.
Yeah. They were hanging from the ceiling.
Yeah, so
in the
that's
chapel.
always the question how to present the work, surging from the walls.
But it's interesting. I don't really find the classical plinths in the book. This is the chainsaw plinths, but not the kind of normal minimal plinths. I don't find it published.
No, that's right. But I think you speak about the concrete one and the car
No,
lacquer
no, no,
one.
the normal, like the car lacquer one.
Ah, yeah, but this I started later. I think this was more connected with the
Ah,
piece
here we
I
are.
had made with.
Here,
Yeah, no, actually, those one. Yeah, those were the very first one.
here. You see. Oh, again, bumpy, grumpy. Anyway, but it's interesting, these kind of conversations. I don't know. We now we had it. Who knows if we would have had it? So let's get to some questions. And sorry, everybody, for the. We are not professional bloggers yet, but getting there slowly. So let me get some questions in. How? Yeah, okay. I just take one randomly. How do your cats react to the sculptures? Oh, that's a good question. Are they scratching like a cat tree?
I don't know, but it's so funny. They are standing around. I think they really want to show off a little bit, actually. But no, so
Narcissistic,
far,
vain
so
cat.
far they have been really, really good with the sculpture. No damage. And yes, the sculpture are cat-proof as well. I think the wood is not that interesting yet. He just tried to go on the. Now I just have to show a little bit of the house as well, which is funny because obviously we see all those beams that are also
Wait, let me get
so
this
well
question off
connected,
because otherwise we don't see anything.
Yeah.
How do I switch? Okay, now I have to. Oh, that is cool. Oh. Fragen einschalten. Because the question is like blocking the visuality of your.
Yeah, I cannot do anything.
But I can't switch it off. No, okay, no, we have to live with it. Yeah, show us the house. But there was one question also. Shut down? Shut down? Shut up or shut down? Could you tell us something about the show you did in Copenhagen?
Yeah, sure. This was
Where this book actually is published.
yeah, maybe you can show some images at the same time, in the meantime.
Yeah, and you talk about it. Yeah.
So this came after our show at the Galerie, right? Where this time I didn't cut windows out of the trunks, but show them in entire pieces. And because of the nature of the building, of the museum, I always start, with the plans of the space and trying to create a system out of the plans, meaning using measurements to find out what would suit best for each show. In this case, because of the nature of the space, I thought it would be really interesting to use the floor mainly to create this grid that I'm used to have in my work, but create a gigantic pattern on the floor with carpet. And so we had a sponsor with the carpet company, and it was then possible to create this huge distortion as well on the wall, on the floor. Sorry.
It was such a crazy experience to walk around because when you walk the carpet, you thought something's wrong with your reception.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Like trippy. You were like thinking
yeah, exactly.
because the floor was like changing, and then also all the wood, all the trunks were all in line, but then some kind of fell off the line, and if you moved, you thought like, oh man, this is like they're falling off. And then you had a performer, you invited a performer, right?
Yeah, so mainly the idea also was to kind of bring the nature inside the museum. And there were those 45 spruce trunks. And then to activate, that's something I'm doing a lot in my practice as well. I'm activating the exhibition or create performance in the big outdoor sculpture I'm producing as well. And here in this case, I worked with a choreographer called König del Valle. and also with my very good friend Egon Elliott, who created the soundtrack. Amazing DJ, yeah.
He was
I
supposed
miss
to
him
play
so
on
much.
our party, but it's postponed.
Yeah, exactly. He's in Berlin now, and anyway, yeah, we activated the space with those friends through performances, and it was really touching, I think, to have public staying for, sometimes the museum was telling me people were staying in the show for like 2 hours, and obviously it was a very democratic show, meaning it was made for everyone. Lots of kids would go with their parents, and yeah, it was really open for everyone.
Here, I want to take this because I think that's an interesting issue for you also. How do you feel about cutting trees in order to produce your sculptures?
Well, it's my material of choice. I literally grew up with wood and trees around me, and I feel like extremely energized. And as I just explained before, I think it's obviously most important is to respect the material. That's why for all those sculptures, also the one from Jamaica, I was there twice to look for wood trunks laying around. Most of it no one cared about. Same for the wood I'm using in my countryside. It's always wood that was that died, that trees that died by themselves, or that were that needed to be cut somehow for X reason. And yeah, for those trunks like this one, I'm working with lumberjack that are working in Switzerland in a sustainable forest, and we are always replanting twice more trees. And what interesting about this as well is that those trees were already planted at the time to be cut later. So the
really
forest can also
there's no need to be apologetic about cutting trees, no?
No, not at all. But I think it's really important to explain the system as well, because it's really important to really take care about this. Obviously, it's something that is I think it's really important to be respectful.
I read an amazing article in Frankfurter Allgemeine Zeitung about the plastic bag and the paper bag.
Mm-hmm.
And the carbon the comparison between what's better for nature. Anyway, that leads a little bit far. Let me see, because we're totally over time. I want to limit it a little bit, but we put some minutes extra because it took me so long to get it figured out. Let's take one more. Someone asking about the frame fruit sculpture. I think we're gonna do this when your studio is ready. We're gonna do it again.
With the what? Sorry.
With someone here, or maybe you can talk about it. How do you here these ones?
Yeah, this we should show next time we speak again. I think you have a few sculptures also. Yeah, this would go pretty far somehow. It's also an eye in the wing from the Vitruvian Man from Leonardo da Vinci, where the idea is to show the magic or the perfect proportion of a human body. But in this case, I'm using fruit to also explore.
So circle and human
nature.
And fruit and frame.
Yeah, exactly.
And then how long does it take to finish one work?
Well, obviously it depends on the size. Every time there is a hole inside the sculpture, it also takes so much more time. It depends of the property of the wood, if the wood is soft, if it's completely dry, etc. But what I can say is that in general, for 1 day of chainsaw, we have maybe 7-8 days of polishing. Meaning I start with the paper that is about 40 grain or 36, and then we go up to 1,000. I say we because obviously I'm not doing all the polishing alone. It's an insane amount of work, and I have an amazing team that I miss a lot as well in those times that is helping me to polish the sculptures. And yeah, another aspect that will be interesting now with the virus is that obviously I will still produce wood sculptures and paintings, but now for a little bit completely alone, which will probably remind me of my early time a few years ago, where I couldn't afford any assistant or help. But I'm also really looking forward to this.
I want to take this last question because I really like it. How would look a self-portrait of yourself?
I think it would be like a very simple drawing.
Or a cactus without dawn, without...
Yeah,
without
something
needle.
like this maybe. Yeah, something really soft and... I don't know. It's a very cool question. I need some more time to think about it.
Okay,
yeah,
so
something funny, rather funny for sure.
Here you see the wide range of this. I mean, this we didn't get into this. We could talk for hours. It's an artist book and a catalog at the same time. Claudia has her own type font, and it's a real masterpiece, and it's a limited. It's not so many, right? Claudia, how many
No,
did
but
you do?
actually it's sold out now. We have done
okay.
800 or yeah.
Okay. And
yeah, this also is like
you see Claudia Comte. It's really like a manual to understand how she works. Anyway, this is that's it for now. And later today we have an open